What's up, guys? We're back today with my boy Sammy's 2007 GMC Yukon Denali. We've got a whole lot of really good go fast parts going in this thing. It's got the L92 6.2 liter LS motor with the 6L80 transmission in it, all-wheel drive. Yeah, we're going to be doing cam, stall, a few other goodies. We'll show you here in just a second. Now this was originally supposed to just be a gasket job on this engine. The oil pan has a stripped out drain bolt and it had a few other leaks, and Sammy wanted to pull the engine out, redo all the gaskets, you know, everything fresh, keep it from leaking. But yeah, if y'all don't know Sammy can't leave well enough alone. So he decided while we're in there doing all these gaskets and we're that far in it, might as well do a cam. If you're gonna do a cam, might as well do a stall. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this one. We'll be pretty busy with it. We'll be doing a tune and everything on it when we're done as well, so you guys will get to see some of that. But should be an interesting little project. There's a new oil pan, Speed Engineering, stainless long tubes, gaskets, Y pipe assembly. This is an AC Delco fuel pump, pan gasket, intake gaskets, BTR cam, front timing cover, lifters, lifter tray, rockers with a trunion upgrade, a lot of stuff in there. Coolant, MagnaFlow muffler, Circle D converter, motor oil. You have got everything you can think of in there. This will be a fun one. So here's the oil leak that Sammy was originally concerned about, and it's pretty bad. It's actually worse than I thought it was going to be. All down the underside. And it looks like, from what I can tell from here, the primary culprit is the front main seal. It is wet as hell right there. It's all up on the water pump too. You can see if it's slinging it up there. It's most likely what it's doing. Dripping on my floor. Alright, so things didn't go as planned. We got the engine torn down and we found an issue with one of the cam bearings. Yeah, I know the rule, never look at the cam bearings. But there's actually an issue with the second cam bearing back from the front of the block where the cam has an oil or like an oil groove in it, and that bearing has that groove eaten into it. So I'll show you guys a picture right here. It's not good. You can see where the outer edges are worn down substantially. So we're gonna have the block sent to the machine shop. We're getting ready to load it up now. I'm gonna carry it out there and get the have the block going through, have the cylinders checked. We're gonna re-ring it, re-bearing it, all that good stuff. So wasn't the best thing to find, but is what it is. You know, better to catch it now than down the road. So this is what we got so far. Getting ready to pull the crankshaft out, load it up. Got all our pistons out, they're all numbered and everything. Heads are off, everything's broken down. So while this is at the machine shop, we'll be cleaning up the truck and cleaning up the rest of the parts and everything. So next few days, I guess we're just going to be cleaning stuff and organizing stuff while we wait on the machine shop to get this bad boy prepped up and back here. It's been a little while since the first part of this video. We finally got the block and the crank and the rods back from the machine shop. As I mentioned before, we had a cam bearing issue, and so we decided to go ahead and have the whole bottom end prepped. So we had the block fatted, honed, everything checked out, you know, as far as the cam bore and all that stuff. Block came back good, put new cam bearings in it, honed the block, fatted the block, all that's done. The rods, we had those sized. They did say there were a couple of rods that were slightly out, so it was a good thing we had that done. The crank looked great, so we just had it polished. No need to turn it or anything. So here's what we got so far. It's our fresh block, straight from the machine shop. Aluminum blocks always look so nice whenever they're cleaned up. Dirt stains are hard to get off of them though, at least in my experience. We also have, obviously, new main bearings, rod bearings, all that stuff's new. Pistons down there. We got to ring those, got new rings for them. So we're going to start getting the crank installed tonight at least. Try to get it seated and then go from there. I've got to pick up a couple other tools and do some more cleaning. But we're making progress. Took a little while with the machine work and everything, because this is, you know, it's winter time, it's the down season, so all the racers are having their stuff done right now. So that tends to back up the machine shops a little bit around here, but happy with everything. It's time to start going back together with it. I think we finally have every piece. We've also accumulated some new stuff since the last time you guys saw all this. There's a lot of random stuff in here, but these, same thing we put on Scott's 03 Sierra. These are Atomic Fab poly mounts for the NMBS trucks. We're gonna run those after we had that really badly damaged motor mount. These things love to tear up the driver's side mounts. Whole lot of new stuff in there. New Hastings rings, Cleveite bearings, all that good stuff. Brand new oil pan. Starting to get all the sensors swapped over to it. Valve cover clean, valley cover clean. Getting all that done. So yeah, start putting this thing together, and be doing burnouts before long. crankshaft installed and the main caps torqued down and everything. And my apologies, guys. I meant to record the process of torquing those, but in all honesty, I got caught up in paying attention to doing it correctly and forgot to set the GoPro up again and turn it on. So that's my bad. That piece of footage is missing. But we did torque them down. They're all torqued to spec. The center bolts torqued to 15 foot-pounds, and then torqued to 80 degrees. Outside torqued to 15 foot-pounds, then 51 degrees. Cross bolts on the main caps, those were torqued to 18 foot-pounds, and using this fancy snap-on torque wrench. So again, my apologies for not recording that like I should have. Wasn't paying attention because this is kind of a critical build. I don't need any mistakes on it. So what we're checking right now is the run out on the crank snout, which GM spec is 1 to 2 thousandths, and we're looking pretty good on this. Roll the crank over, see where it's zeroed out, a little bit past zero. They're about 1/1000th run out, which is well within the GM spec, so we're good on that. We also checked our crank total in play. That's within spec as well. Made sure to seat the thrust bearing. You know, in the process of torquing these down, you use a rubber mallet, dead blow hammer, whatever. Not a metal hammer at least, and knock the crank back, then forward, seat the thrust bearing in the center in here. So everything was good. The only other thing I need to check right now is the run out on the reluctor, just to verify that everything's still okay with that. And then once that's done, we'll be completely finished with the crankshaft installation. All right, now we're to the fun part on the Denali. We're gonna put the cam in this bad boy. This is a BTR Stage 2 truck cam. Part number BTR 312-18110. I don't have the cam card. Sammy has the cam card, but pulled specs up online, and we are looking at a 212 intake, 218 exhaust duration. Lift is a 553 on a 110 plus 0 LSA. So fun little cam for street stuff, combined with that Circle D stall should be pretty good. But yeah, this is the fun part. So we're gonna get this beautiful piece of Bald Eagle manufacturing equipment in there. Well, cam is installed. Time to put the lifters in, put the front retainer plate on, put the lifters and trays in, get the heads on it, start moving along. It's taken me a little while to do this. My apologies. We've been a little bit busy, backed up, one thing after another, but we're gonna get this 6.2 Denali wrapped up soon. You guys will get to see what this is like. It's not a super radical build. It is basically a brand new engine. You know, all the parts have been gone through or replaced, but you know, it's a stage 2 cam. It's stalled, stainless long tube, stuff like that. A good tune on it, and this 6.2, it'll be healthy. And with these awesome Atomic Fab mounts, same mounts we used on Scott's truck, with those bad boys on there, should do some pretty decent all-wheel drive launches until we find the next weak point. But time to start buttoning the rest of this bad boy up and get her put together. And then I got to do some stuff in the truck once the engine's together. One of the motor mount bolts on the passenger side was stripped out, or not stripped out, it's cross-threaded. So I've got to tap that, clean that up. There's also one of the fittings on the firewall, which if you've ever worked on one of these, you know those things are a royal pain. One of those is leaking. Got to fix that. The engine loom, the wiring harness loom on the engine side is crap. Someone at some dealership somewhere down the road sprayed this thing with a lot of degreaser, some heavy stuff that pulled the plasticizer out of the loom, so the loom is crap. We're going to need to re-loom it, not just for appearances, but in order to prevent failures. You don't want any kind of chafing on the wiring. That stuff will drive you nuts trying to solve that. So we also have a new steering shaft that's got to go on it. New power steering pump, if I remember right. We have one of those. So a whole lot of stuff to do in the engine bay, but the biggest thing is getting the engine buttoned up. That's what we're going to work on now. Now the cam's in it, you know, part that everyone cares about the most, part that, you know, part that makes all the fun happen. Now that that's in there, we're going to get the rest of it put together.
How y'all doing today? Today we're gonna put this bad boy and that bad boy.
What? Oh, you mean that? You mean that?
I mean, we can put it in this handsome.
That just got. That was awkward for a minute.
Hey, we can put it in that handsome fella right there if he wants it. You want this big 6.2 going in there? You know what that 6.2 stands for, correct?
That's. So anyway, we put the motor in Sammy's Denali here. Alex may be sleep deprived, something wrong with him.
The old lady kicked me out. I'm homeless.
6.2 is finally done. It's so pretty. I mean, it's still kind of dirty. The aluminum is porous, and that's annoying, but still looks good. We're gonna drop it in the frame rails.
We gotta. Donald Trump can say it on live.
We gotta reloom this stuff. We got a new. Oh! I ain't throwing mine down. I like my hat. We gotta reloom this. Somebody degreased this with something awesome, and the loom just falls apart. That's what happens when you buy a car from a used car lot and they try to make it look pretty. Brandon. So we gotta reloom everything that fell off of it. Got a new steering shaft on it. Is that important? Yeah, man. That's the fishing. No. That's the
You dipstick.
That's the hose for flushing heater cores and stuff. Anyways, we're gonna drop that there 6.2 in this here Denali. I mean, we were originally building this so Sammy could haul the kids to school real fast, but ain't no school right now. So
he wanted to pull up to that pre-K stunting on everybody.
Well, now he's going to circle the subdivision now because there ain't no school. Either way, it's still gonna haul ass. It'll be good.
Letter of the day is L.
All I gotta say is this: if Sammy comes back and tells us he got an oil leak on something else, Be prepared.
You're fired if that's the case. Someone's got to take the fall. I'm going to have to let somebody go if that's the case.
I'm not saying it's going to leak on this. I'm saying on another one of his vehicles.
I don't see the problem. We're putting, look at this beautiful thing. Clean of all the oil.
It all started.
Stainless long tube.
It all started because he noticed a little pebble of oil on his floor.
I mean, to be honest, that thing was pissing about a quart a day out of the front seal. That was worse than I thought. You know, we got our tissue in there so we don't get the virus in the exhaust manifolds.
Beer bong.
You.
Pour the Bud Light in.
Look at that.
Pour the Bud Light in.
Is that where this goes? Is that what they mean when they say alcohol injected? Because I mean,
it's the ultimate beer bong.
I tried pouring some Jack Daniels in mine. It didn't work real well. I don't know why, but it keeps talking about all this corn fed and alcohol injected, and I'd have poured all kinds of alcohol in mine. It didn't go nowhere.
Redneck cousin. Tarnation kind of
curse words, Alex. Oh yeah, where's the light? Where's the light? Oh, it's on the post. I forgot to show this off. We only got one more chance.
Oh,
yeah. Circle D converter.
I feel bad for the people watching this.
You should definitely.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Because of what I said in the background.
I didn't even catch what you said in the background. I swear, you screw up my edits. In and a bunch of accessories hooked up, and well, a few of them anyway. Headers are on it, stuff like that. Working out some final details, but before we go any further, I've got to relume some of the wiring. On these GM vehicles, a lot of times when you have an oil leak, the oil will get down into the loom and into the electrical tape that's on there, and it dilutes the glue that's on the tape, breaks it down, and also degrades the plastic in the corrugated loom and causes it to fall apart. That happened in this case, along with at some point this vehicle was, you know, on a car lot, or I'm assuming that's where this happened at, but it could happen multiple places. Someone detailed it and they used a really strong degreaser under the hood, and that degreaser pulled the plasticizer out of the loom and caused it to crumble. You see that a lot. That's why you don't use a really aggressive acidic degreaser on this stuff. So we're trying to fix that now. This is what we're working with. See the hopefully you guys can see this, but the bare wires, going back over that, retaping, reluming, getting all that done. See, the engine is setting up in there. Still got some cleaning to do under here. Let me duck down. Long tube headers are on. They look awesome. Got to put the Y pipe together. The Y pipe's still in the box here. Got to get it put together, and in order to install it though, we have to drop this cross member, so I'll have to grab the pole jack to hold up the transmission, connect all that up. But yeah, so you can see how the wiring looks now. I'll show you guys what it looks like when I get done with it. It's kind of tedious. It's real hard to film that while I'm doing it. All right, we got the wiring loom completed, at least on this run. I've still got to do all this area up here, but we're gonna do that from the top side. So the lower side is done, nicely loomed, taped, and on the ends for the starter solenoid wire, we have the reflective heat tape, AC Delco stuff there. We also have this fabric tape, which is used in, for anti-chafing. It's used in areas that are prone to rubbing. Keeps from rubbing through. Same with the crank sensor. Yeah, looks like a tab broke on that. I just realized that. Seems to get brittle. You can tell from the discoloration on the secondary retainer there was some heat on there. So we may go ahead and change that plug out. But yeah, so we have the anti-chafing tape on there, the cloth tape. Mimics what was on their factory. Nice and clean. And some people may ask, like, why you know, why worry about the loom? Why replace it? It's not just an appearance thing. It really is integral to the longevity of the wiring itself, because without this on here, you can have the wires actually make contact with corners of the block, such as, you know, this area up in here, areas like that, and it can rub through the coating on the wire. The other issue is, you know, being exposed to chemicals such as coolant or oil or things like that, you know, as in the case of this engine the last time, as in the case of this engine before we rebuilt it, there was a lot of oil contamination, so we had to wipe the wires down, because that oil can actually break down the coating on the wires over time. And this, having everything properly loomed, helps prevent, you know, the coating on the wires from getting broken down from chemical exposure and things like that. So it's very, very helpful. It's not just an appearance thing. It really is important in order to maintain the quality of the wires, because believe me, you do not want to have to chase down a wiring issue due to it rubbing on the block, or the wire breaking internally due to corrosion from exposure to moisture due to a failure on the coating on the wire. We've seen some pretty messed up failures over time. It's better to inspect all the wires, clean them up, you know, make sure they're all, you know, decontaminated and everything, relume them, tape them. And this tape we're using is not the same crap you get at the parts store. This is not, you don't go to Home Depot and get this stuff either, you know. This is not, it's not that crap you use on your house. It's a different level of stuff here. The specific tape we're using here is a Elliott ETN 1000E tape. You can get it from various suppliers. We purchase ours from Current Performance Wiring. They sell it. We like to help those guys out any chance we can, so we order our tape from there. But you know, don't use the crap from Home Depot. It's not the same thing. Don't use that junk from Harbor Freight either. That is not what you need for underhood application. It will fail. It will fail, guaranteed. It doesn't hold up well to heat. The adhesive is not that good. The actual PVC material itself is not, you know, it's not as flexible as this stuff right here. It has a little more stretch to it, you know, holds its form better. And you know, as far as the heat tape, this is literally an AC Delco tape. Or well, there's an AC Delco part number. I don't think AC Delco makes it, obviously, but it is the stuff that GM uses. And then this cloth tape here, which I need to order more of, that we also get from CPW, and that is, I believe, also an Elliott brand tape. But that's, you know, you want to use that in areas where it could potentially rub, like in the case of, you know, the starter solenoid activation wire. When it's screwed in there, you don't want this rubbing on anything and cutting through your loom or your tape. So use that cloth tape on there to help with that. So yeah, we're getting there. I think we're done underneath for now. That new loom on the old power steering hoses there. Just gotta do a couple more little things and move to the top side. But she's coming along. We're getting there, a little bit at a time. It's just kind of tedious. There's a lot of cleanup. Well, there's the current status of things. I've got all the lower harness plugged in that we were talking about earlier. All that's, you know, all the loom is done, everything's plugged in, all the little clips and retainers are back on the harness. Engine's looking pretty good. You know, it's coming along. I've been trying to decide where to end off this video at, because part of me wants to put it all in one episode, but this has been a very long project because I have a lot of stuff going on at the same time, so I'm jumping back and forth, waiting on parts, waiting on the machine shop. You know, a lot of things held this up with all this coronavirus stuff going on. That's kind of putting a damper on ordering parts too. But either way, I think we're going to end it here, and then we're pretty close. We're pretty close to being able to fire it up. I've got a few more things to do. I've got to fix a coolant line over there, get that repaired. Strangely, it's the one that's been repaired that's actually leaking. Normally it's the stock ones because they're extremely brittle. I've got to get that line repaired so it doesn't leak, and then you know, do a little more cleaning under hood. Still got to clean the intake, stuff like that, and then we'll get all that put back on here. I'm gonna try to fire it up in the next few days. It takes me a minute to edit the videos, so I can't guarantee how long it'll be before the next episode comes out. But it's getting there. Slowly but surely. I've got to work on the Mazda and the 55 tomorrow. I've got to move those forward, so you'll see a progress video on the Mazda coming up. It'll be a minute before I have a full video on the 55 because I've got I'm waiting on parts. Everything's back ordered right now or delayed in shipping and stuff like that, so that's a real hold up. I got to do what I can on it right now. We have all the transmission lines for the Mazda, so you'll see those in an upcoming episode. But yeah, so hopefully next week we'll have this thing fired up, or yeah, this coming week we'll have this thing fired up, have it running, start tuning on it and everything. But yeah, so I'm going to call it there. So, you know, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, tell me what you want to see more of or less of. Still trying to get the hang of these camera angles, so I don't have the best angles on this build. It's taken me a minute to get the hang of this, but you know, don't forget to support us, follow us, you know, comment, share, all that good stuff, and buy a shirt, hoodie, something like that. Help support us because we got a lot of dumb projects coming up, and yeah, well, we need money for those. So, all right, guys, see you in the next episode.